What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Monday After podcast. It is a Tuesday, but I was just trying to get some stuff done. Rebrand will be coming soon. This podcast will turn into a football podcast, NFL and college. So we'll go through um, the weekend college football, basically Saturday, and then the Sunday leading into Monday Night Football. And this podcast will hopefully come out before Monday Night Football, and we'll give game of the week will obviously be the Monday night game. We'll give picks, take a look at fantasy. We'll have another segment on that, like we do for baseball. And then moving forward, we'll just have, videos for specific games, stream highlights. I know I've been saying I'm going to stream, but that is coming. That will take into effect pretty soon. But going into the NHL, the Las Vegas Knights are the Stanley Cup champions. 9-3 win, just a brutal game for the Panthers. Brutal season. Tkachuk was ruled out. I think that was a big thing for them losing. He really is the trendsetter, the game MVP for Florida when it does, just because of his energy and his presence on the ice. Just a brutal game. Vegas just dominating the entire time. I mean, it was kind of embarrassing. It wasn't really that good of a series either. Florida got one win, but congrats to the Golden Knights, first win in history for their franchise. It was great to see that. And then moving over to another champion, the Denver Nuggets, also first time winners. It's good to see Jokic get a ring. I mean, there's a lot of guys on that team. KCP, obviously, Georgia guy. I like him a lot. Got his second ring, one with the Nuggets and one with the Lakers in 2020. Mickey Mouse ring, whatever you want to call it. But then it's another really boring season. But moving on to the draft. So the draft is coming up in a few days. Obviously, the top three picks in my eyes are going to be Wemby. Wemby, obviously, consensus first round pick to the Spurs. 6'2" with an 8-foot wingspan. With the team that he was playing for, the Metropolitans, he had 21 points per game, 2.4 assists, and 10 rebounds per game with a 48 field goal percentage and 37. You don't really see guys like you see Giannis. He's a big, tall guy, but he can't really stretch the floor as much as Wemby can. He was shooting 30% plus from three. Granted, the league that he's in may not be as competitive as the NBA or have the skill sets, but I think he'll be a good pick. The Spurs can kind of try and build around him. The second pick goes to the Hornets. There's been a lot of speculation on who they're going to pick. I've been seeing different reports of different players. I think Scoot Henderson, excuse me, not Scotty, Scoot Henderson of the Ignite should be the second overall pick. We see here 6'2" guard. He's got a good size for the NBA. He's a little shorter, but he's big. He is massive. Um, the stats don't really do it for him. 16.5 points is still really good. 42 field goal percentage, 27 3-point. And I mean, he's averaging a steal a game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, he's a guard. He's not supposed to get boards. Um, but the thing is, how does he fit in with the Hornets? Is the main thing. If we go and look at the Hornets roster right now, I mean, LaMelo Ball is going to be their one, obviously. Um, they got Terry Rozier as a guard. He could. I mean, it really just depends on um, who comes off the bench. They have a lot of guards. They could move Dennis Smith Jr. I don't know if they will. Rozier's shooting guard. They got Oubre, um, Civ. I don't know who that is. But I don't really know who a few of these guys are. But they have a lot of guard presence, which could lead them to get Brandon Miller, um, out of Alabama. obviously Bama was a big talk of the season for a lot of different reasons. Not not all of it was good, but I mean he is another one of those guys who can stretch the floor pretty good. Um, 18 points a game, almost a steal and a block, 2 assists, 8 rebounds, 6'9". He's got a 38 3-point percentage with a 43 field goal percentage. Um, I had the wrong screen up. But he's gonna be. I think he can be good. Uh, he might be the number 2 pick for the Hornets. Depending on what they do with Dame, I think Portland could go for either of these. It's really just a toss-up. Um, and going forward is after Portland, it's Houston and then Detroit. So there's a lot of different ways teams could go about it. You know, they could make moves. Obviously, Houston would love to get. I think they're trying to get Harden back. Um, and they can. There's just so many different ways they can go. There's a few overtime elite guys. Cam Whitmore is a good pick. Second overall forward, sixth overall, obviously. Grady Dick's a top 10 pick. And I could see some reaches. I think Lively might go in the top 10, seeing as he's one of like two big men in the top 10. Three, excuse me. Jarris Walker. Um, there's a lot of different ways this draft could go, in my opinion. There's a lot of guard, like not really guard, like 1 through 3 play. They could do, but it's gonna be an interesting draft. Wimby is obviously gonna be number one. I would like to see Scoot go in the top 3, just because I think he's a good, solid player. And into some news now, Draymond just declined a 27.6 million player option. The Warriors are trying to push to get a new deal with him. I don't know where else he would go. Honestly, I mean he could probably go to a different contender. I think that's only where he would want to go is to a contender. But he's such a staple of the Warriors at this point with their history, the championships, and everything. He's been there through all that with Steph and Clay. But do you really want a new deal with him? 27 million is a lot to pay him. He's getting older. Um, I mean, let's go ahead and look at his stats from last season. Let's go here, roster. I just think you got to move forward. You got to go get a younger guy, in my opinion. His stats aren't that bad. Let's move the camera down some. That's a good spot for it. Eight 8 points. You obviously want more than that from your third option, essentially in that offense. 7 rebounds is good. 6.8 assists is good, and a 50% field goal percentage. But I just don't think. I mean, they could possibly move forward, try to do a sign and trade if they can get a deal. I don't think they can, but it's an idea. I think they could go and trade for somebody, just depending on but I don't, like I said, I don't know who they could get for him. Um, Maybe get a cat if the Timberwolves are ready to move forward. You could do Zion. Um, People are saying he's gonna get traded by Thursday, but I mean I don't know. I think you try and I think you could try and move on. 33. His He's kind of declining, but I don't know. You might be able to move forward from him. I don't know. And then we have the big trade this week so far. So far is the key word. Bradley Beal to the Suns for Bradley Beal was the headline. Bradley Beal and Chris Paul were the headlines for this trade. But then the Suns, along with Bradley Beal, get Jordan Goodwin and Isaiah Todd, just some players to throw on their bench. And then the Wizards get Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, multiple second round picks and pick swaps. So Wizards just going ahead full rebuild. They don't really have that guy right now to build around though. That's the thing with it. They have the number 8 pick in the draft. They could get their guy then. Um, they don't. I don't believe they have another pick in the first round. Yeah, they don't. They don't have another pick in the first round. So let's see what they got moving forward in the second round. They have one. They only have 2 picks in this draft. So they could tank, try and get a number 1. Hopefully, they're really aiming for um, a top 3 pick next year. Worst case scenario, 4. Um, but they're just going ahead and doing a full rebuild. It looks like. Um, yeah. It's interesting to see what draft night comes to. Dame could move. I saw, I think it was the Jazz. I'm not too sure who it was, but somebody's pushing to try and get Bam. Let's see. Yeah, the Blazers. The Blazers. Sorry, Blazers are trying to push for Bam. They could trade Dame. That would make Heat's front court really good, but then that just leaves them really small. They could get a big man in the draft. They would probably. I don't know if they could trade first round picks and Dame for Bam. I don't think that's a good trade at all. But the draft will be coming up. I'll have my reaction out for that later this week. Moving on, kind of switching it up now. We got golf. The Live and PGA merger, basically. Um, PGA Live Tour and DP World Tour unify. So a lot of these players were blindsided by this. Nobody really knew, and they basically got robbed. A lot of these guys that stayed loyal to the tour, obviously Tiger doesn't need um, the money. He's already got a giant reach in the golf community. He's got deals. He's won so much. So he's probably the only one that really didn't get that punished money wise for this. Um, but all the players will be allowed to play. Um, you know, this this news came on June 5th, so it's kind of old news now. But Colin Morikawa tweeted, "Love finding out morning news on Twitter." I think he probably got a big deal offered to him. I don't know. I The main thing was that they were going to spend so much money in the legal battle. The tour was going to spend so much money in the legal battle against um, Live that they were just going to go bankrupt. And obviously, Live has so much funds backing them that they could just keep going and going and going until something like this um, or PGA goes bankrupt. And essentially, I don't know. It's gonna be a weird, probably first year. A lot of players were really disappointed in this. I think Rom felt betrayed. Rory felt betrayed. Those were two of the guys that were really headlining, um, staying with the organization, the tour. Um, Two of the best golfers in the world. Obviously, we saw Rom win the Masters this year. Got me some money, but I think it's. I feel like they could have gone a better way about it, communicating with their players over this. It just blindsided pretty much everybody from what I've seen. It's just Money talks, really. Moving on to the NFL, getting back into football. Football is not that far away. Less than 100 days till college football. A little more than that for NFL, but it's the best time of year. I love watching football. Just taking up my entire weekend. I love to see it. Mini camps. We only got three things for now. Um, it's reported that the Texans are having a quarterback competition. I say that with quotes on them because it's Davis Mills versus C.J. Stroud. Like I don't think there's gonna be a lot of competition. Um, the only question with Stroud is his aggressiveness and his willingness to run the ball. We saw it in college. Obviously in the NFL, there's bigger guys who can hit way harder. Um, so we just got to see how comfortable he is getting out of that pocket, making these plays. I mean, that's the only question mark for C.J. Stroud that really I had, that his willingness to go and put his body on the line, unlike some of these guys, some of the other guys in the league that will just try and run through people. I mean, obviously, you got another Ohio State quarterback, Justin Fields, basically a running back there. I mean, he can throw the shit at the ball, but basically a running back. He just run. He will run through you. He doesn't care. Um, but we did see negatives of that later in the season as his body kind of wore down. He started to get hurt with that shoulder and everything. Um, Going into another one, a personal favorite, Stetson Bennett. A lot of people thought he was going to go undrafted, seventh round, went fourth round to the Rams. And Rams teammates giving him high praise. So maybe he could, once if Stafford moves on or retires, he could step in, just go from Georgia quarterback to Georgia quarterback. Obviously, the Rams need to improve on a few levels. Offensively, they need to figure out their running back situation. Cam Akers was a big question mark, especially for fantasy owners. A lot of people drafted him one of two in their leagues, and obviously he was the number one fantasy running back last year. Didn't do a lot. He didn't really have what he needed to. He didn't do what he needed to do at all in the season. So they kind of need to figure that out. Get some of the just get either pick him or Darnell Henderson. They need to get line. They need to get another offensive weapon other than Cooper Kupp. I think that really hurts his production, even though he is one of the best, obviously, in the league. He's just gonna it's gonna put a lot of strain on him, really. Um, and then Jalen Hyatt, one of the best wide receivers in college football last year. I hate Tennessee, but he was one of the best wide receivers in football last year. Obviously, torching Bama, um, one of the best teams in all of college football. Yeah, Bama's ruled for a while. We're kind of seeing not really a changing of guard with Georgia, but it's showing they're getting a little competition in there. But it's weird to see him on third team. A lot of teams doubted him going into the draft. We saw highlights of him talking shit to a scout and then running routes, catching balls that a lot of people wouldn't be able to catch. But yeah, that is all for right now. We'll have some more next week. Moving into MLB, Reyes getting back up to 400. The dude is on an absolute tear. He's batting 400, first guy to 100 hits in the league. Bo Bichette got it last night too. As we can see, he's at 102. Bo Bichette's at 100. But he's on a tear. He's playing really good defensively. I think he has more multi-hit games than he has strikeouts in his career. That could change now. I saw that earlier in the week, but man, he's lighting it up. And they're second in the East. Arias 400, Ronald 325, Freddie Freeman 324. Austin Hayes 320, Bo Bichette 317. Went pitching leaders. It's still going to be McClanahan, number one team in the league. There's nothing. I mean, they're kind of slowing down. Braves are catching up a little bit. We got the second uh, most wins in the league, but and he is your wins and ERA leaders. Shohei is now leading the league in home runs. 24 home runs. Mr. Throw It Again only got one home run, and it was against the Braves, but we saw how that turned out. Jorge Soler in third with 21. Matt Olson with 20, tied with Schwarber. ERA, McClanahan's at a 2.12. Valdez 2.27, Gray 2.37, Marcus Stroman 2.45, Nathan Eovaldi 2.59. Bryce Elder obviously dropping out. He was in the top 5 for most of the season thus far, but like 2 bad games kind of kicked him out. Let's see the entire thing. Bryce Elder just out of it at 6 with a 2.6. He's 0.0 off of Eovaldi. Justin Steele coming in 7th, 2.71. Castillo 2.73. Garrett Cole 2.75. Merrill Kelly and Michael Wacha with 2, and Christian Javier with 2.9s. And that's one of the things that's going to change throughout the season too. Class A still at 21 saves. Not a lot of saves coming in right now. Spencer Strider leading 127 strikeouts on the year. Gossman is catching up to him with 121. Now we see the whole top 5 with 100 plus strikeouts, obviously. Pablo Lopez 110. I think he just got put... No, someone else. For some reason, I thought he was on the IL for some reason. Not sure. Not sure where I saw that, but Mitch Keller 108 strikeouts, Shohei 105. Let's talk about Ronald for a little bit. As long he is also leading league in second in batting averages. He has 30 steals, 15 home runs. One of the first guys to do that. The Braves' offense is just so good right now. The big thing is, can we keep it up? As we go over and look at the standings, obviously, like I said, go to overall, second overall, 3.5 games behind the Rays. It'll be a little bit, I think, before anybody catches up to the Rays. 4.5 game lead in the East. Phillies coming in third. Mets. I mean, I am a Mets hater, but you spend that much money, and people say rent-free, whatever. Like it's a rival. You're always comparing yourself to your rival. You can't spend that much money and be playing such subpar baseball. It's kind of ridiculous. As we look, Dodgers are now in third in the West. Diamondbacks just continuing their tear. Giants have kind of sprung up. They swept the Dodgers, and it's a little iffy, honestly. If it Dodgers are playing poorly or the Giants played good. Like it's kind of hard to tell the difference. I think it's a little bit of both. Giants are finding their stride. They're finding who works, who doesn't in their lineups and stuff. So I don't know. The Reds. Let's talk about the Reds for a second. Leading the NL Central right now. And they are red hot. Red hot. Joey Votto came back last night. Hit a home run. 3 RBIs for his return. Let's go ahead and look at the box score real quick. De La Cruz, Ellie's still killing it. 271. His batting average is dropping, but I mean, he's a rookie. He's not expected to bat 350 all year. Joey Votto, 3 for 2. I mean, he just tore it up. I think it's a good step for the Reds, not the Phillies. It's a good sign for the Reds that he's coming back and he's doing that in his first game. Um, and the Central's really honestly a toss-up. The Cardinals are underperforming. The Brewers are underperforming, in my opinion. The Cubs are kind of underperforming with some of their signings. Bellinger just came off the IL, but they got big signing in Dansby. Went out, got a few pitchers. I think they probably should be, if regarding all the other teams, they should be number one, but they're just underperforming. And it's baseball. Like it's really unpredictable in all senses. But they're, I mean, he's gunning for Rookie of the Year in the AL, and I think Corbin Carroll is in the MVP running, as he should be. I think it's really going to be a toss up between who can stay constant and who can hit throughout the season, who stays healthy. Big game tonight for the Braves as we go to Philly and take them on. Um, and then another big game, possible next teammates. Dodgers and Angels. Let's talk about Shohei. He leads the entire organization in almost every stat. Every stat, like you see here. Batting average, home runs, RBIs. Shohei. ERA, wins, strikeouts, Shohei. And it's a bunch of other stats with that. Unfortunately, I do think he can go to the Dodgers. Um, and just, it sucks to say that. Um, they are up into second in the West. Hopefully, they can kind of stay there. Um, I don't really know where else he could go other than the Dodgers. Maybe the Yankees try to make a push for him. The Cards could do it if they get their shit together. Um, who else could get him? That might be it. Maybe Toronto. I don't know how much they're willing to shell out. The Giants, maybe. I don't think they have enough to give. The Padres could 100% get them. Same thing with them if they get their stuff together. They could definitely get them for sure. Um, but I don't know. I think they the Angels just have to get something in return. They can't just let him walk. If they can make a deep playoff run and re-sign him, perfect, amazing for them. They keep their core together, Trout and Otani. Maybe they go get some more people in free agency, make some trades in the offseason. Maybe even at the deadline. If they don't trade Shohei, maybe they can get somebody. I don't know. Looking into fantasy now, got another dub, 8-3. I didn't really pay attention much this week. We had a bunch of really good days. 71 on the 14th, 57 and 50 ending the week. Only 5 on Friday. Nando carrying. Jonathan India hitting a few bombs. Matt Olson, obviously. Bryson Stott's been a good piece for me. Pitching, Logan Webb's did really good. Spencer's he's not doing he hasn't had a few good starts recently. 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs against Detroit. Um, and the bullpen's been doing good. Oh, that's his team. My bad. His team, Buxton -8. That's not what you want from a superstar like him. But the bullpen's doing good. Going into this week now, obviously it's Tuesday. We've had games played. Um, Winning right now. Hopefully we can keep it up. Obviously I'd like to keep it up. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for the support as well on my other videos and everything. Like I said, trying to rebrand. This podcast will stay, but the channel itself will kind of transfer over to something else, have a new name, get a new brand, branch into some other stuff. Like I said, streaming, game breakdowns. I'll try and pick games of the week to watch. Obviously, I can't do every single Braves game right now, but and I know not everyone's a Braves fan, so trying to branch out into different things. Obviously, once hockey comes back around, getting into it again. Got to relearn the game, kind of. Football's coming up. Obviously, I'm going to have exciting things. I know a lot of my buddies love football along with me, so we can get them on. Have some of my buddies come in here, break it down for some of the draft analysis. Um, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.